Fill your thirst beside the river. Wash the journey from your hands. Feel the comfort flow inside you.
Hi, welcome to Healing Outside the Box. I am Rosemary Lachance, an energy healer, spiritual teacher, and spiritual advisor.
Hi, and I'm Carla Augustyn, the co-host.
And tonight we are continuing our Life Explained series, which will give you food for thought information about spirituality based on the teachings of Hans Wilhelm from his series. We will play one or two different DVDs and then have dialogue about it. We encourage you to call or email us or write to NHTV with your questions, and we will answer them on the show or privately if you prefer. This is not a religious show, and no matter what religion or belief you follow, this information we give you will only enhance your beliefs. We do not try to convince you of anything. This series is recorded and will be shown in your area on your local public service cable network. Please contact them for dates and times.
If you have a group that you think would be interested in what we have to offer, we are available to come to your group and teach from this series. We will give you our contact information at the end of the show. Please visit Rosemary or Hans' website, where you will find a wealth of information about our show and this series. Our shows are now available for you to watch on YouTube for free. Just go on YouTube and type in Healing Outside the Box to make your choices. We are constantly adding new shows, so keep checking back. We are also on Facebook under Healing Outside the Box. Please like our page for the latest information about our show. We hope you enjoyed the show.
Okay, this tonight is our 207th show. And my co-host is Carla Augustyn, and she's a spiritual teacher. Carla also has her own public service TV show in Brantford called Spiritual Invitation, which, in addition, you may watch on YouTube. Okay, the first DVD we're going to hear is called Life Before Birth. They will play it in the studio, and then we will have discussion about it.
Hi, I'm Hans Wilhelm, and in this video in the Life Explained series I would like to share some details of what happens when we incarnate. The reason why souls like us incarnate into this world are manifold. Now, some come to heal, some come to observe, some come to experience or to assist other souls, but most of us come here for karmic reasons, meaning we want to undo our karma, and we also want to grow and wake up to our true essence. Now, planet Earth is a magnificent schooling ground for that, because on planet Earth, souls from all different vibration and consciousness can incarnate. Normally in the spiritual world, we are surrounded usually by souls of similar vibration like ourselves. But once we are here on Earth, we can learn, mix, mingle from other souls of different awareness and different consciousness. It's a very unique and special place, and it's also a very beautiful planet. Now let's look what happens before we incarnate. We are spiritual beings or souls, and our true home is the spiritual world. Here we continuously learn and grow, but the growing process is slow because we are only surrounded by like-minded souls or similar vibration. And being in a totally different environment with lots of challenges, like for instance here on Earth, that can speed up our growing and awakening process. Now, most of us have been here on Earth many, many times before and have still karmic ties to other souls we encountered in previous lifetimes. So when we decide to return to Earth, we very carefully discuss and plan our visit with our spiritual guide or guides, and maybe more. There we will show a rough outline of our life. It's sort of like a riverbed with all the twists and turns. There are all our challenges, and all these challenges and difficulties we will see in pictures. We will agree to them prior our incarnation, because we know they will help us in our growth and what we want to achieve. And to assist us during our visit, some souls with whom we are very close may join us. They can be our future earthly mother, father, relative, friend or spouse. And most likely we have been together on Earth many times with them before and may even have karmic ties that bind us together. Now, in addition to clearing up past karma, we also want to develop divine qualities again, like love, peace, compassion, and mercy. Now, let's say, as an example, we feel that we are by nature a bit cold, not as loving as we like to be. And we decide in our future life we really want to learn love. According to the universal law of attraction, we can only be attracted to a mother and also a father of similar vibration. So in other words, we will be born to parents who also have trouble expressing love, just like us. They are the same vibration, like attracts like. So our parents have the very same vibration characteristics as we have. Prior to our actual birth, we will try out our future bodies a few times to see if it fits in mommy's tummy. Now, that is always when the baby is kicking in the tummy. That's when the soul is actually in the embryo and try out if it fits. But we fully connect and bind with the body only at the actual birth, when we take our first breath. Then the soul and body are united. And here we are. Now let's make a little baby pram here, and there we are. And we are very unhappy, because after being born to parents of similar vibration, we are now painfully reminded and exposed to a behavior pattern that mirrors our own character. And as a young child, we will deeply crave for love and affection, and may experience the very same environment that we may have given our own children in past lives. You see, the parents in this lifetimes could easily have been our own children in the previous lifetimes. Now see what happens when we grow up and grow a little bit bigger. The pain of lack of love is deeply felt in us as a big, big void, something lacking. But now look what happens as we grow up. And when we grow up, this very void, or this lack in our childhood, will now become the source and spark that ignites our passion, our driving force. The stronger we perceive the void, the stronger the drive to compensate, the stronger the passion. Therefore, children that grow up in very cold homes can become very passionate and loving parents themselves. And due to their increased passion or drive, they are now able to find and give an enormous amount of love. So instead of hoping that we had the perfect and ideal parents or home, when we grew up, we should rather look at what we think was lacking according to our own perception, and then turn this lack around and let that energy become our passion. For instance, children that think they grew up in extreme poverty may develop a strong drive for wealth and sharing that wealth. Whatever we perceive as a lack can become our driving force. Now, once we understand this dynamic, we will no longer blame our parents, but instead thank them for having given us the most perfect environment for our unique growing and awakening process. Well, I don't know about you, but the more I study these incredible laws and dynamics in life, the more and more I am at awe about how the spiritual world is helping and assisting us to succeed at every turn in our life.
Okay, we're back. Before we begin, I wanted to let you know that Carla is going to ask me questions about this video. And Hans Wilhelm I've known for 35 years. We've studied together for many, many, many of those years, and we both follow the same teachings. So this is why I am able to answer the questions that my dear friend Carla is going to ask for your information. Okay, here we go. Go ahead.
All right, fun. All right. He says in the beginning, we're here for any number of reasons, to heal, for karmic reasons, to observe, to assist other souls, to experience. Do you think that we can be here for several reasons?
For several of these reasons?
For several of these.
Yes, we
yes,
can.
you can. You do.
You do.
Oh, yeah.
And also, I have also heard that there are times when we have taken on someone else's karma for them, which is
What do you mean we've taken on someone else's?
we have agreed to work it out for them while they're watching. For some reason, I don't know the reason.
Are you kidding?
No, I've read that.
Oh, that's new for me.
And that is
okay.
it's like the greatest gift you can give
Give
someone.
somebody.
Yeah, that's rare.
So they're
But it
on
does
the other,
happen.
they're home, as he says.
Yeah.
They're home on the
Or
other
whatever
side.
plane
yeah.
they're on, yeah.
Yeah, they're watching
Yeah.
and they're learning through us
us, yeah.
taking this particular
Right.
on. That's a new one for me.
Yeah,
That's something.
that can happen also. So
All
yes,
right. Yeah, because I feel as though certainly I'm learning different things spiritually and I'm getting stronger in different areas and that type of thing. But I know to experience, like being a mother, I know that's my primary reason for being here in this life. But I think it can come to us as we go along life, the more aware and conscious we become. It's like, oh, maybe I'm supposed to work on this as well, and maybe this as well. So there's just different things.
that's what self-awareness is all about. Self-awareness is the opposite of ignorance. Ignorance is lack of self-awareness. Self-awareness is what you just said, being able to look at ourselves and say, okay, could I have done that better? When something happened, or at the end of the day, going over your day and saying, okay, now, what did I do today? And how did that work out? And did I do this really good? Yes, I think I did. Could I have done better with this? What did I learn today? What did I do today for anyone? Things like that. That's what that's all about. And that's how spiritual growth happens. And the only way it'll happen through self-awareness.
So reflecting.
Yes.
Really, reflect and checking in with ourselves
That's it.
often.
Another
like how
name
do we,
for it, sure.
Right. How do we feel about something? Do we want to improve?
Exactly.
Yeah, all of that. All right, so why are we with like-minded souls? I believe he means with similar vibration.
Right, yeah. Thinking like we think.
Yeah, thinking like we think. So we're with like-minded souls in spiritual world. Why, if it's our purpose to grow? Because he says we come to Earth to grow because we're able to be with souls that are not necessarily like-minded or of the same vibration. So it got me thinking when I was watching it, then why are we with, what's the advantage? Why are we with like-minded souls on the other side?
Okay.
All right.
Now, you've heard the saying, like attracts like.
Yes.
Okay? That goes on through the universe. We're with the like-minded souls because that is where, when we're out of the body, that's the spiritual vibration we're attracted to. People who are like us. We're comfortable there. We feel safe there. They think like we do. But after a while, I mean, there's not much growth because we're all thinking alike. So after a while, you kind of wake up and you think, this is great. I love it, but I need something more. You know, and if you ask somebody a question they're going to give you an answer that you would give yourself. So it's like, there's no growth here, you know. But on Earth, it's a mishmash. People rub you the wrong way all the time. People make you angry, and that anger is like a mirror. That anger is looking at you saying, why are you angry over? This is when the self-awareness comes in, the self-examination. Why did I get so angry? Or why did this person make me angry? Or why did that upset? This is, like he said, the most perfect learning ground for us to grow. Then we're done, we're tired, we go back to the people we love. We get all the hugs and kisses, and we're all nice, and we all love each other, and everything's nice. And then same thing, until we've learned what we have, we move up, up, up. We don't have to come back anymore.
And do you think that on Earth, that is the search, really? Like, that's the journey? Like, we're really kind of craving that pure acceptance and vibration that we have with other souls. Do you know what I mean? Do you think
When we're here, do we crave it?
Do you think we crave it, and that's why many of us go searching, because we maybe realize we're not with like vibration maybe we didn't grow up in the family that was of like vibration.
Exactly.
So it's something that we're craving, isn't it? A little
we
bit.
need that, like myself, for instance, most of my dearest friends are living in other states. So there's not a lot of people around me that think like I do, or I can have these great conversations with about. I met you. I probably knew you before, but since we met, we are on the same wavelength. So it's like, it's like having a nice, refreshing drink, somebody to talk to, somebody who understands. Yeah, we do crave that. And we all need it because it gets tired. You get really tired after a while of not being able to express yourself, or when you do it and somebody goes, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
Yeah, we do crave it. Oh, yeah.
Right.
And that's why we do meet people like that from time to time. Sometimes we don't. We have a lot of time by ourselves. And I can only think of that to be moments of reflection. Even if you're there for a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever, it's because you needed to be alone, whatever the reason is. Everything that happens to you happens for you, not to you, for you, for your benefit, for your spiritual growth. That's why sometimes when you ask God, when you're praying about something, sometimes the answer is no. Only because right now it's not good for your spiritual growth. That's the main thing we're concerned about. They say, pray for your needs, not for your wants. So.
And then trust.
Oh, yeah.
Right, and then begin
trust,
to
have
trust,
faith and believe.
Have faith, trust in God.
Yeah.
Just believe.
That's whatever happens. If it doesn't happen, it's not for your best interest right now. You don't know.
And I might be getting too technical, but
No, that's all right.
What is it about Earth then? Because Earth, we can come and be with, we can just be plopped into situations, and we're not necessarily with like-minded vibration or whatever. So is it just, because when you were earlier describing about how likes like, like goes with like, I was thinking kind of magnetic, almost kind of
it is
pull,
magnetic. That's why you're pulled to that certain
gravitational kind of pull. Okay, so Earth is something where not necessarily we're going to have that pull towards
the people.
Yeah.
Well, it depends. If someone we really love dearly is here, we might want to be with them. The biggest pull for a lot of people, especially for people who don't want to come and learn and grow, is what Earth offers you. The how can I say, the pleasures of the body, sex, money, fame, beauty, all the things that excite people, all the things you do that you think is so exciting, competition in sports, this, that, and the other. These aren't really great things because they pit people against each other. But a lot of people come back for that. And when you're talking on the other side before you come, you'll be advised. And your motives are not good, but you'll be told that. But their will never be forced on you, unless, of course, you're coming back to hurt, to do some harm.
Right.
Then some people come here because they're supposed to do some harm for karmic reasons for the other person. That's a whole nother thing.
That's another, definitely.
So.
Definitely. All right, so I loved how he said, and I want to understand it more, our first kicks as embryos in our mother's womb are us trying out if we fit. I mean, this tickled me. I mean, vibrationally fit, or this
body fit? Yeah.
Like literally fit, or I mean, like
what's the fit?
Yeah, what's the fit?
Okay. It's like coming into the body and getting used to it. You're going back and forth. When parents decide to have a baby, they attract a soul because the parents are the right fit for what this soul has to learn in this lifetime. Okay? Now that raises a question of abortion. Okay, if you have an abortion, it doesn't really mean, you're killing a body, but you're not necessarily killing a soul. Because you can't. Okay, but what you are doing is you took away the chance for that soul to be born, to come into this. If he picked you to come, there was something he wanted to learn. And if you do that, now they can't learn. They have to find another body to get into.
Okay.
So what happens is that it'll come in and it'll get into the, into the womb, and it'll be there and get the feel for it, and then it'll leave and be watching you from the other side, be watching as the pregnancy occurs and talking to his guides and teachers, and he'll come back in again, and he'll leave, and he'll come back in again. But he doesn't come to stay until just before birth. That's when they're in, they're fit, it's good, and then you go into labor, and you have the baby.
And do you think that's when the soul enters for good?
For good.
For good.
That's
the soul
the time.
is there for good. So it's really kind of a little bit of a tryout period, in other words, is this really the life I'm signing up for here? Is this really what I'm entering into?
Exactly.
Okay.
And a lot of times, which might help some people whose babies, they didn't carry full term.
Right.
Or something happened to the baby,
Yes.
didn't make it, because there's a change in plans. It was for some reason that was not going to be a good fit for that soul to come after a while. They realized, and so the embryo dies. Of course, you can't live without having a soul in the body.
Right.
Now they're doing it genetically altering people, which is, oh my God, it's so dangerous. These people have no souls.
Oh.
It's horrible. They can be any kind of monsters. It's just terrible. That's why that kind of thing, GMO testing and doing is a horrible thing. Especially when they're doing it with people now, trying to create.
Oh my gosh, that's another show.
I know.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Bad.
Wow.
But anyway, people shouldn't. They will feel bad. People don't know these things, so they will feel bad, and they want a child, and I know that, and it's really sad. But if they could know that, it just wasn't right now.
Right.
And the soul knew that it wasn't going to fit. It wasn't going to be a good fit. It wasn't going to happen right now. And that's what happens. Or, of course, if there's a problem with the body,
right,
the physical body, that's a whole different story.
That's all of nature. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it just could be the body's just not going to survive.
But if there's no physical reason, and it just happens, then, that's the reason.
And I think,
and he'll come back another time.
And they'll come back another time, and they'll come back to you if they're meant to come back to you, or they're meant to go on to somebody else. But I think as parents, as women, so many women just blame themselves, and it's really a complex universe, and it's not your fault. No. It's not that you did something wrong or you didn't. I remember I actually miscarried between my two, and I remember feeling so badly because when I was initially pregnant, I did get like a virus or something. And so I didn't know, Jesus, is it like my fault? And it's probably the worst thing parents can say, or a mother can say, is it's your fault. Now I know this baby was just that particular baby, that soul was just not ready and it wasn't meant to be. Right. But I didn't at the time. And so it's like we really shouldn't blame ourselves. There's a lot going on here. It's just not random.
People could save themselves so much suffering if they would just learn about reincarnation and karma. They don't have to listen to me or you or another person. There's so much information out there.
Yes.
It can alleviate so much suffering.
Yes.
And if you read about it, you understand what it is, and then you can accept. Say, okay, now I can understand. You don't have to grieve and hit yourself over the head and get angry and blame and this. Find out what the truth is. That's the thing. The problem is religions try to keep the real truth away from us to hold us to that particular religion. That's why I'm against organized religion, but I'm all for spirituality. Right.
Yep. Yeah.
What can I say?
All right, so he says we are disappointed when we're born because we realize we have similar vibration as our parents. Talk about that more. That was the first time I had heard that.
Okay.
And are we always disappointed? I mean,
oh no, I signed up for this.
How
could I have?
So is that what they're feeling? Because he said we're a similar vibration as their parents. So does he mean we're like our parents, or does he mean we have equivalent weakness as our parents? Like, what does he mean with that?
Well, let me give you an example.
And then we'll get into the whole idea of we're disappointed.
I'll tell you a funny story. The disappointing, I told you a funny story. My girlfriend, her and I, we had joined this, well, not joined, but we had studied together, this group. And that's what we learned about reincarnation and karma. So she had told her daughter, and her son, like I told mine. And her daughter said, when she finally believed it, she said to her mother, "You mean I had a choice? I could have picked somebody that was a millionaire. I could have had swimming pools. I could have lived in a mansion. I could have had everything I wanted, and I picked you." They all laughed together. Okay, yeah. That's a funny story about that. But with myself, my mother and I were always, we didn't get along. You know, I didn't have a great love for her because she was always upset. I found out later why she was always upset, but I didn't know, you know. And her ways used to make me angry. I mean, I would get angry at her. I would just, get aggravated. And then when I learned about this, that the person who we get so angry at is because we have the same traits as them and we don't see it in ourselves. But that's why we feel the way we do.
It's being reflected, yeah.
Yeah. And I said, no, there's no way I'm like my mother. No, I will not believe that ever. No, I'm not like her. No. And then as time went on, I started kind of then really looking at her and comparing to me. What'd she do? And I think of myself. She'd do something, I think of myself. And then all of a sudden, one day I said, oh my God, I am like her. In so many ways, I have a lot of her traits. And each time I discovered...
What an awakening, though. That's a big awakening to have.
Each time I discovered a trait and realized that I had it too, I didn't get aggravated at her anymore on that particular one. And little by little by little, they all disappeared. So by the time she passed, at the end of her life, I was at great peace with her.
Yeah.
Really great peace.
That's really
That's
nice.
because I finally realized that I was like her. And her being in that way showed me myself. So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, do you think that we actually are, you know, as little newborns, you know, disappointed? And, you know, I mean, you know, I guess I was taking it the wrong way, what he said. Like, we realize we're disappointed when we're born because we realize we have the same vibration as our parents. But I believe we probably do on some level, you know, I mean, on a spiritual level.
Well, I don't think
know.
so, because when you come into the body, you kind of forget. You have to forget your past lives.
Right.
Because if you didn't, you wouldn't learn anything. You would just be going off a checklist, you know, that's cheating.
Right.
So
there'd be no point.
No, all you remember when you first come in is how beautiful things were on the other side. You can see spirits, some people, depending on how much they developed, you know, talking to animals, talking to plants, all those things that are beautiful. But no, I don't think you come in as a baby and look at your parents and go, "Oh, don't tell her picture." No, I don't think he. I think he meant just born, period. You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now he says the child grows up craving a void, and he uses the example of love. Okay, but what can other voids be? You know, the child grows up craving a void. So their craving can be, you know, something that's going to be lacking in the child, him or herself. So, like, say, patience or.
They're craving a void.
Yeah, he says they're craving a void. So they're craving, so a child grows up craving a void, and he uses the example of love. So say the parents aren't able to be very loving. And then the child grows up with that as well. So grows up, I guess, with that void. Because they're not receiving love.
Right.
And then they could evolve into someone that actually becomes very passionate.
Right.
Right.
So in the beginning, it's a void for them because they're not getting that love. But then actually that helps them to realize how much they wanted that love, so they show it to someone else.
Okay.
Usually there's someone in your life, if it's not, like with me, it was my aunt. She made up for me because my parents were not loving people. They had their own problems and they were wrapped up in. But I had an aunt who worshipped me and who I worshipped. And she was my saving grace. So usually there's someone in your life that can make up for that void to help to teach you.
To be able to do so, you have somebody modeling what it is that you need.
Exactly.
So really, anything that your parents are lacking, then that's an opportunity for you to grow in that area.
Exactly.
And is he suggesting that possibly that's why you picked those parents, because they were lacking in something, whether it be love, it could be patience, I suppose, honesty, ambition, things like that.
Right.
Right? They're lacking it. And that's an opportunity for you to recognize that and then get it for yourself. Or,
Exactly. Because, like I said, with my parents, what they were lacking in was like a mirror for me to see myself. I was lacking in those things. I didn't realize it, but I was also lacking in those things. You can't get love if you don't know how to give love.
Right.
That's an old saying that goes a long way.
Right.
And so on one hand, I had an aunt who gave me the love and made me happy. And then I had the mother who didn't. She was just the opposite. And actually, she was jealous of my relationship with the aunt. Because though she didn't know, in her way, she loved me, but her love was more of a possessive type of a thing. Do what I say every minute of the day. I know everything it is. It was going, especially being an only child. Some people spoil only children. Other people.
You're an only child?
Yes.
Oh.
Other people make them toe the mark. They have to be this and this and this and this and this, and they make you crazy. But then I had an aunt who accepted me for who I was completely. But there and again. When I grew up and when I started having children, I said to myself, it stops here.
Yes.
I am not going to do to my children what my parents did to me.
Yes.
So I gave them love and support and freedom and everything that they wanted. And now they say, why don't you make us be more bad people so that we don't get hurt all the time, because we're always doing good things and people are hurting us. I used to laugh at that, So, but yeah.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
And it's really
a
gift when you can overcome that. That's a huge thing to do.
Yeah.
Though, to overcome what you were raised with.
Right.
I mean, that's a pattern that doesn't all the time get broken. I mean, I feel like too in my family, growing up, my mother was very good about meeting needs, and I feel like I kind of went overboard with my children because I swore that's just not what I was going to do for my children. But it's easy for people to have a harder time with that. Some people have a harder time with that, being able to. But I guess, too, maybe a little bit what he's getting at is we really are supposed to do better in so many different ways than the previous generation.
Exactly.
Typically, parents will say, I hope my kids do better than me, but lots of times they're just referring to financially. But I think in all ways, we're supposed to do, raise up a little bit more and a little bit more, but and I tend to look at it spiritually, be an even better person than I am, be a better parent than I am, I would say to my children.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, I want to make a little note in here with when I realized, how I was like my mother, you learn to accept it. It wasn't until I found my spirituality that I was able to see how much I was like her, that I was able to understand why I chose her. So without that, I probably would have wasted this incarnation, okay?
Right.
Because I wouldn't have learned. So sometimes you'll run into people who will help you to understand, and sometimes you won't take that opportunity either. It will happen for everyone. No one is better than anyone else. But I took the opportunity when it came to me. And I followed it, and I searched, and I said, life's got to be more than what I'm seeing. It's got to be more to it. And that was the beginning of my understanding my parents and everything else, and that's when I realized, and that's why I was able to make peace at the very end. Well, I worked everything out with her.
Good.
She didn't, but I did.
But that's a gift, yeah. I mean, a gift to yourself.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
I remember the night
Yeah.
before I died. Before she died.
Yeah.
I didn't expect her to die. But that night she was saying, I'm going to be a better person, and you know, you got to help me with this, you got to help me with that. I said to her, Mom, I will take you back in. I will help you, because she was in a nursing home. I said, I will do it right from the beginning again. We'll do it, not to worry. And when I said that, I meant it with my heart and soul, and I felt such a peace came over me. Such a peace. It was, if you only could see it, it was just so beautiful. And the next morning I got a phone call, she passed.
Wow.
I was shocked. I didn't expect it. I expected to start all over again.
Right.
With her badgering and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
It was over.
What a peace. It was just
time.
over.
Yeah.
But I mean, what a gift.
Yeah.
That you, within yourself, like you know.
Yeah, that I found that peace.
Right.
It was just, because with my heart and
forgiveness.
soul, I really said, I'll keep doing it as long as it takes for her while she's alive. And I meant it. That's all you ever have to do, even when you pray. All you have to do, if you mean it with all your heart and soul when you're saying it, you'll get the answers you will. If you're just saying it off the top of your head, a lot of times you're not going to get an answer. As much as you mean it, as much as you feel it, that's how much you will be answered.
Well, I think, too, I mean, you know, talking about moms, and I remember the exact moment, and it just took me by surprise that I forgave my mother. Like this, it just, we were out to dinner together, we were having a very nice time, and I remember looking across at the table towards her, and she was ill, but I remember thinking about her. She just looked innocent in a way to me, you know, like a childlike innocence. And she was so happy to be there with me. And it just, without thinking, nothing, it was such a gift. It just came over me like, I forgive you.
It just comes over you, doesn't it?
It just comes over you.
It does.
And it doesn't mean that I sometimes don't get hurt thinking about things from the past. It doesn't mean that I have just forgotten everything.
No.
I don't think that's what it is. But on some level, I did forgive. I know that was genuine.
Yeah, that's what I did
Even
at
when
the
I'm
end.
having some, you know, unfortunate memories. It's like I did forgive.
Yes.
So I think, too, and going with this, and I wonder if you agree, but it's also an opportunity for our parents to grow. Don't you think so? It's not just one-sided. Our parents have whatever, and we're learning to grow. It's also, no, you can grow too as a
nothing is
parent.
lost. Whatever you say to someone, if it's a good thing and you're trying to drop the seeds like Christ did, they may not register at that person at that time, but it stays in their aura. And when they pass over, all these things you said will come back around to them, and they'll see it. Plus, they're shown a video of their whole life. We are shown a video of our whole lives when we go over what we did, what we could have done better, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, we can learn, you know. So
Yeah.
So
let's see. Also, though, on the flip side, do you think that parents can fill a void in that maybe karmically a soul comes in, a child comes in with an issue, and that parent actually is a real plus for them to handle that issue?
Yeah.
So I think of sometimes, like if a child has a learning disability and this parent, you know, some parents are just all over it, so good at handling certain situations with certain children. So maybe that parent doesn't just have a void, that parent has a plus.
it does, yeah. It's not,
Right?
It's.
Yeah.
He said sometimes the void, not always the
Sometimes,
void.
but it's not always a
No.
void.
This
Yeah.
person may need a parent who could show the love, so that they needed to learn love, and the parent was able to do it, and so it didn't have to be
That the parent
look at-
alone.
yeah, was-
Okay, I'm glad you're clearing that
Yeah,
up. So it's
that
not
could
just the
happen too, yeah.
parent
being
doesn't
the same
know
as
how
you.
to love.
Right.
Okay, it's just the parent is the right vibration to teach you what you're coming in for, or to be with you for what you're coming in for.
All right. Given all that, I'm going to ask you what your thoughts are on this, and I think that our viewers would be interested in this. What about these young people who are taking guns now and going and killing a bunch of people? And we've seen been going on for quite a while now. The parent didn't know till they say that these children were going to do this. So, what would you think, in your own mind, because you have a lot of spirituality, the reason that they had this child who would do this kind of thing? Why do you think that happened?
I know, that's so complicated. That is just really complicated.
I know.
I mean, yeah, what is that? I mean, I'll tell you one thing, I'm glad it didn't happen to me in this life,
Right.
I'm glad. I guess before the grace of God go I. So I guess,
But that's not, I don't like that saying. You know what?
Why?
Before the grace of God, there goes I. Could happen to me.
It could happen to me.
Yeah, I don't like that saying because it's saying that God chose this other person to have this bad thing happen and not you because he favored you over the other person.
Okay. So I don't think of it that way. I don't think that, I see what you're saying.
See what I'm saying? Whenever I hear someone say that, yeah.
I guess I don't go there with my head when I say it. I think
we're so used to saying that. It goes over. We're raised saying those things.
I'm saying spiritually, God, I'm grateful that this wasn't this journey for
Your
me.
journey, yeah.
It's not my journey right now, and I'm grateful for that because I feel compassion for someone that it is their journey. I mean, I can't imagine getting that call or a policeman at my door saying, guess what your child just did. So I just it's more me feeling compassion, but I don't feel like, okay, I'm glad you're clarifying that because I don't feel like God's showing any favoritism at all.
I want our people out there to know that when something happens to someone doesn't happen to you, it's not because they were deserving and you weren't deserving. It's none of that.
And the vice versa.
Picked one special.
Or it's
no
just
one
like
is special
nobody,
to God.
Right. It's not like God doesn't like you and that's why this is going to happen to you. And it just has nothing. No, we're all equally loved by God. But I guess I think of the term more too in terms of a humble, I can't judge this. I mean,
what I mean? We can't judge it. We can just feel sorry for them.
I feel for them, but I can't judge this. And so, I think that's the mystery of God, that we don't know why that was the match. That mother and that child, and then whatever. We don't know if the mother was really a really, really good, loving mother and prevented so much more that could have happened with this child as they grew. We don't, do you know what I mean? Like we just, there's so many parameters that we just don't know.
Okay.
And I think that's why we
That's
can't
not,
judge.
you said mystery of God. To clarify that. It's not a mystery of God. It's a mystery of their life, which is not your life, which is their business, which is not your business. But we can't help but think, I think it all the time, what did that happen? Why were they not paying attention? How could they not know that their son was doing this? Now, I'm sure that in a lot of instances, they were not paying attention. And today, life is so hectic for people. Both parents working, children kind of raise themselves. The supper meals every night at 6 o'clock don't happen as often as they should, where you could talk about what's going on. The family unit is not like it used to be.
Well, take it too. Why is it that there are some kids that grow up with no attention, totally dysfunctional families, picked upon, maybe there's even some, and then they grow up and they're just like fabulous people.
You're right.
And they survive it. So, what's that kind of thing?
The only thing I can imagine.
So the wrong combination, like a perfect storm of.
Yeah, the only thing I can imagine is that child came into those parents to teach the parents. Because the parents would have to one day look at their child and said, when they realize, even if it's not till they pass over, boy, I was a really bad parent. But look how he was. Look at how wonderful he was.
Right, how did he turn out
Yeah,
so
how did
well?
he turn? If he could do that, why can't I can do that too to myself? Every single thing in life is a lesson for you. To giving or receiving, one or the other. But it is a lesson to be learned.
Right. And I'm not speaking to any one incident, okay? But let's just take like a shooter, okay, that comes in and a young person, teens or 20s, and does the shooting. Who's on both sides? So I'm just doing an anonymous person. I'm not doing anybody specific, obviously. But just for the sake of argument, was it that, like, who dropped the ball? Like, was it that parent's opportunity to really pay attention, to get help, to, do whatever, okay, and didn't? Or did that parent give really a lot of love, a lot of attention, a lot of whatever to the child, and that child, for whatever reason, their personality, their whatever, just didn't take that and run, wasn't able to kind of heal themselves in a way.
It could be either one. But
sense?
Knowing myself and my children and what we went through with, in our lives, I think that at some point in your life, someplace in your mind, a little bell goes off when your child is not acting right, when there's something that doesn't fit, doesn't seem like, it's like a warning bell about them.
Right.
And then the next minute the child acts fine. But nonetheless, that happened.
But for anything in life, do we listen to that little bell?
Yeah, that's the problem. That's what we don't do. We don't listen to that little bell.
That little bell,
Right.
that inner guidance,
That's
voice.
what happens, yeah.
Whether we're exhausted, whether we're lazy, whether we just don't feel like it, whatever the reason, and we ignore it. And I'm always regretting when I ignore it.
Right.
So we shouldn't ignore it.
Right. That's what I'm just saying. That's why the self-awareness is so important.
Yes.
That's why the busyness of life today, why things are happening like they do now more than they did when I was a kid, when the mothers usually didn't work and the family suppers and the families were together, and it was always, always that kind of thing. Peaceful, nice, and that's the difference in today's world. It's hard. But there's another side to that coin, too. See, there's so many things that we can't make any judgment calls, because it could have been that child came into the world to do that certain thing, to teach other people.
No, that gets a little wild.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. That's a.
Because no one dies before their time. If someone was killed in an accident, if someone was shot, if someone was killed in all these shootings that have these mass shootings, that's not coincidence. That's not, oh, the poor thing, they were in the wrong place at the wrong time. No. Everybody dies on time. That is when they were supposed to die. Now, the people who died, that may be something for a lesson for their parents or somebody that, if they're young people, whatever. Or they'll say the loved one of the person who died. That may be something for them. I mean, there's so many intricate parts to that, that's why we can't make judgment calls. We really can't. We can't say the parent didn't do their job, or this kid was just a bad seed, or something like that. No such thing as a bad seed. No. Everything happens for a reason. Every single thing. There are no coincidences. And the reason it happens is always for growth, spiritual growth. No matter if it's a child, a grown-up, a kid, an old person, whatever. It's all, and if people could just understand that, they would stop fighting against it so much and making themselves crazy, blaming someone else or blaming themselves. Blame. We cry victim. When we cry victim, we don't grow because we blame somebody else, something else, someone else, something else, somehow. It's not like that. But see, people have to get to that point, and the only way they can get to that point is by spirituality and by studying and finding out and saying, like I did, there's got to be something more to life.
Well, and there's got to be reasons, and I like spirituality. I love spirituality for one of many reasons, is that it does offer some explanation, because it is confusing when you think, why did why do good people die young?
Right.
Classic, and why
do
when
people
there's
say so terrible, right?
when there's mass destruction,
Right.
and mass murder, and whether it be shootings or driving vans into crowds or
Airplane
fires
crashing,
or airplane
earthquakes,
crashes,
tornadoes, anything.
Exactly. It's like, so why is that? And I think it's so important with spirituality to realize we really aren't alone.
Right.
Even if we could be at our most lonely in our life, but we really aren't alone. And so if we grow in our spirituality and we actually believe that, when major things happen, I think there's a little comfort there.
Yeah.
I'm not saying major comfort. It's awful when awful things happen to us. But there's some sort of explanation or comfort or something. Having said that, I don't know, I don't know how I would survive, say, a child dying. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, and I know you've had.
I had to, yeah.
I know you've had to. And that's, Rosemary, that's one of those things where I think, I've had a rough year, so it's like, oh, I could handle this, I could handle this, I could handle a fire, I could, That's the one, though, I just...
It's got to be the worst thing.
Yeah, it's got to be the worst thing, and I don't think there's... I don't know, it kind of leads to a question that I have about,
Okay.
I don't think it's comforting necessarily to think, when we're directly in the path, that this happened for a reason, this happened for growth, this,
At that particular time, no.
This person died at the right time. Like, how do we, and that was one of my questions, like, in terms of even picking our parents, but we've expanded it now, but, but say picking our parents, how do we say that as spiritual teachers in a compassionate way? Because some people had horrendous parents,
Mm-hmm.
and I do think
Yeah.
it could have been those horrendous parents' opportunity to improve their lives and not be
Exactly.
so horrendous,
Right.
and they didn't do it, and unfortunately for this soul growing up as a child. But I mean, how do we say it in a compassionate way? There's a mass shooting at a school and all children die, and do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how, I guess I can't come up with that way. When I'm feeling kind of spiritually intellectual, I can say, oh, things happen for a reason, no one dies before their time, there's different growth going on. But I think...
It just popped into my head, so I
Yeah.
guess I'm supposed to say it. What makes me so sad and annoyed is people who their children pass on in these mass shootings and whatever, and they want to sue somebody. Like, money is going to replace the grief. Money's going to replace them. It's going to soothe them. Somebody said, well, they're going to be, they deserve to have that money for what they went through. What do you mean they deserve? What is the money going to ease? Is it going to ease the pain? They could have gave me $1 million when my son passed on. It wouldn't have changed anything. It wouldn't have changed one thing. Okay? Now, I had some spirituality when he passed, okay?
Right.
But when it happened, it was like somebody punched me in the stomach and took the whole breath out of me. I mean, it was devastated. No matter how much I knew, I was devastated, okay? And it took me a long time. All I ever did was eat, sleep, and go to work for many years. But if I had not had the teachings that I had before he passed, learning about reincarnation, learning about spirituality, and God kindly letting me visit him in my sleep, okay, a few times, and letting him to visit me. If it wasn't for all that, and it happened to me because I did have the spirituality, I don't know how I would have survived. So when I see someone lose a child, I can feel their pain.
Well, don't and
exactly.
Even say
and I wish
well, say like they're going to sue because they think that's what's going to sue them.
Instead, find a reason.
And I think they're going to have to. Carolyn Mace. Carolyn Mace, the author. She was she's a medical intuitive, and she writes a lot of books on spiritual ethics and stuff like that. I really like her work. And I know she said how she will never say to a parent, if say a parent loses a child, she will say to them, it's between you and God. She won't say, well, it was their time or their lesson or your like she won't say that. She tells them it's between you and God.
At the time when it happens, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, you can't say that in the beginning.
You can't say that. No. It's like it's what you have to.
Once it's going on, the grief is played itself out for a while.
They may start searching.
Yeah, if they want answers, I've tried to help so many
searching.
people. I said, can I talk to them? No, they don't want to know anything. They're just devastated. And they went years and didn't come out of this.
Right.
And it neglected the other child, neglected the husband or the wife.
Right.
I mean, why do you want to put yourself through that?
Right.
Why don't you say to yourself, I need to find the answers for this. That's all you have to say. I need to find, and pray to God, help me to find the answers so I can understand, and then go out and look and listen. That's what you have to do. But that woe is me, you can do that for a while. Like I said, I had that punch in the stomach, and for a while I couldn't breathe. I couldn't do anything.
I don't even know what I can't even begin. So many things in life you can say. I think I would do this, or I think I would do that. That's the one. I really don't. I'd like to think my faith and my spirituality will carry me through, and I think it would.
It will, Carla.
And I think it would, but. It's that's a really certainly a really devastating one, but but it's amazing the answers that you do find in spiritual books. The
I'm here to tell you,
that you find.
No, I know you. I know how much you know, how much you understand. But I'm also here, your friend. If that ever happened to you, when you saw me and I hugged you, you would know that I knew exactly what you were feeling.
Right.
And you would know that you knew the answers. But right then and there, you don't want to hear the answers.
No, you don't.
You got to play your grief out. You're going to miss them. And then after a while, when you come back, reality, I'm going to see them again.
Right, I am going to see them again.
And thank God, with all these dreams, my son came so many times and gave me so many signs because I believed. When you believe, you will get your answers. And I'm sorry for all of you who have lost children. I am so sorry. I understand completely. But pray for answers, and you will get them.
Pray for the peace.
Pray for your heart and soul.
Yeah, no, pray for the peace, that you find peace again. Yeah.
That's it, We still have to play out our grief, but money or riches or fame or anything is not going to take away the pain. Go search. I knew we were not going to get to the second video.
Okay, we're not.
I think we're going to have to do one at a time from now because we have such good conversations.
That. I know, and I still have more questions.
And I'm hoping and praying that our audience out there will appreciate the fact that we've really talked about all these different things, and hope that you'll get some answers from all of this. Okay, God bless you all. All you suffered, we're sorry. Okay, we're going to give our contact information. For Healing Outside the Box, me, Rosemary Lachance, phone number 203-627-7966. My email is whitebuffalo8@comcast.net, and my website is www.rosemarylachance.com. And Carla, it's Carla Augusta, www.carlaaugusta.com. And that's her website. And when you go on that, you'll get all the information about how to contact her and talk with her and learn about her. Okay? Carla.
Oh, this was so fun.
Wonderful.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're
I look forward to
welcome.
the next time.
Okay, the next time we'll have to take up the second one, which was
that'll be good.
Why are we here?
That's a good one.
The audience is going to love to hear about that one. So we'll do that next time.
We'll see you next
time. All right, everybody. Good night. Mwah. Good night. Good night.
Fill your thirst beside the river. Wash the journey from your hands. Feel the comfort flow inside you.